Now, finally joining the show. I am so excited to talk to you, man.
The studio looks amazing, so I can't wait. I mean, when you make a play, all I want to do is scream and flex. I was loving every part of being an underdog and having that underdog mentality. You're in the big house, the crowd gets up and you get them going. You get that rush through your veins, and it's something that I desired. All we wanted to do was beat Ohio State. I think on and off the field, I really crossed off all the boxes.
Welcome into episode 1 of Hutch, brought to you by PFF and presented by Cash App. What was Aidan Hutchinson like as a kid? What were his interests before football? His relationship with his mom, his dad, his sisters, high school head coach John Filiatraut, all the way up to his recruitment to the University of Michigan and his relationship with Jim Harbaugh. Let's get it.
The Hutch podcast is brought to you by Cash App. Cash App is the easiest way to send, spend, and save your money. You can send or request money from your friends when they owe you for dinner, drinks, literally anything. Besides just sending money back and forth, with Cash App, you can invest in stocks with as little as $1, as well as buy, sell, and send Bitcoin instantly. It's really that easy. Cash App also lets you design your own debit card completely free to spend money anywhere you'd like. Cash App will laser print it and mail it to you all for free. And the card comes with free discounts at your favorite places called Boosts. Sign up for Cash App today using referral code HUTCHPOD, which gives new users $15, and Cash App will set aside $10 for each sign up to go towards the Chad Tough Foundation. The more people that use the code HUTCHPOD when registering not only get $15 for free, but you're also helping support the Chad Tough Foundation. The Chad Tough Foundation funds the most innovative, promising research on DIPG, which is underfunded compared to most cancers. The mission of the Chad Tough Foundation is to inspire and fund game-changing research to discover effective treatments for pediatric brain cancer, with an emphasis on DIPG. Download Cash App on the App Store or Google Play Store today.
Now, finally joining the show. I am so excited to talk to you, man. I have talked to probably like 50 people all about you to finally get you in the room here. It's been fantastic. I appreciate you coming in.
The studio looks amazing, so I can't wait.
Coming off the pro day, feeling good? 28 reps on the bench, feeling all right?
28 reps on the bench, had some nice position drills, so definitely feeling great. Done with the testing, so now we're moving on to, I mean, the application is complete now.
Yes, has to be. No more tape, no more
14 games, combine, pro day, everything, and now we are, we wait and see.
And your dad did 26 reps, right?
He did 26.
So did you talk to him about that at all?
Oh yeah. I mean, this year has been a competition with football, testing numbers. I mean, just about everything.
I have to be honest. I've watched a ton of interviews of your dad. So in in the peak of COVID, he's on the front lines and he's getting a lot of publicity, rightfully so. I mean, the guy's a grinder, an awesome dude. Yeah. And every single time it comes up, well, I beat Ohio State 4 times. I have 5 Big Ten titles. Well, I have the sack record. It's my jersey before it's his. He's a funny dude, man. I'm a huge fan of your dad. But let's get into kind of your early childhood, man. I talked to your dad for like an hour and a half, your mom for 2 hours, I think, talking about you growing up. And I think the biggest thing that stands out to me that I want to start with is the relationship with your sisters. Yeah. You have 2 older sisters that are you have such good relationships with at an early age. Right. And all they're doing dance together. Yeah. You guys are doing dance together. You guys are competing together. Let's talk about that first, man. Speak to kind of the importance of the relationship you have with your sisters and competing together early on.
Yeah, me and my whole family and especially my sisters, we had such a tight bond growing up, and that was just from, spending a lot of time with each other. And, even growing up, even when I was in high school, I mean, we were taking trips internationally. Like we were in Dubai, like France, Rome. I mean, we were everywhere internationally, and being able to spend time with them there. And obviously when I was younger, dancing with them, I think I was doing it for 3 years maybe. But being able to do that, when I was younger with them is something that definitely I don't think many brothers and sisters have the opportunity to do together. So
it's fun because really we were doing the same thing. So every single day after school, we'd report to dance. Then on the weekends in the spring and the winter, we would have our dance competition. So we would all be there supporting each other and kind of like we were in this together. We were learning dances together. We would actually go home and just like make up dances for fun. That was kind of something we did in our free time. But everyone loves to talk about the dance days because I think it's something very unlikely with a big guy like Aidan, right?
We never really competed like that. Like every time we had dances together, we had duets, we had trios, we were in large groups, you know. We never really competed. Me and him were kind of always like on that same level, and we kind of just did everything for fun. Like that's at the end of the day, like we weren't being forced to do anything. We were just doing everything we wanted for fun, and our parents really instilled in us to like try everything we wanted. Yeah. But yeah, dance was definitely our thing.
So that was a big thing for us. My wife and I said, you're not playing tackle football until you're in 7th grade. And we had told him this when he was in elementary school. So that was something we stuck to our guns on. And we encouraged him to do everything. So he did soccer, he did a little bit of cross country. And a big chunk of his elementary school time and early middle school, he did dance, competitive dance, 20 hours a week. But wow. You know, again, it was, you know, we had the 2 sisters, and this was a unique sort of scenario. It was a dance school that had like 20 other guys. So it was a very atypical from what you're used to seeing as a few guys sprinkled in here.
So being able to kind of be there and learn from them and see these guys that I really looked up to at the time was really cool. And, you know, having that experience is something that I can probably say that not many other guys in my position have.
Mm-hmm. You're, you know, in middle school and you're spending 20 hours a week at a dance school and doing national competitions. You know, I think that went a long way to helping his core. And probably to me, the biggest thing that dance helped him was allowed him to think on the fly, because they'd go right before a dance. They have the whole thing choreoed for, you know, 3-4 months. And they'd say, okay, at this beat, we're going to change everything. And it's like, I don't know how you think like that, but that's what transitions you to football. It's like these game time adjustments that you make.
Yeah, you didn't just do dance. You did some other sports as well. I know you did lacrosse. I think your dad mentioned cross country, soccer. Mm-hmm. What age were you starting to do other sports beyond dance, and what were some of your favorites growing up?
I mean, growing up, I didn't quite know what I wanted to do. I was doing karate, karate. Yeah, karate, guitar lessons. Didn't quite know what. And then I had the dance for a little bit, but I was playing flag football for about 5 years. So I was kind of, trying the water out, dipping my toes into a whole bunch of different things.
So soccer, dance was huge. Lots of lacrosse, a little bit of cross country. He was a longboarder, and you know, I think that a lot of his balance came from that as well. And it wasn't until we realized that, you know, he was early in high school that his high school coach probably didn't want him breaking his wrist and missing the season. So I'm like, you know, you either tell your head coach you're skateboarding or you're longboarding, or you need to give it up. And he said, yeah, I'll give it up. I realized that, you know, if I break my wrist, that's gonna be not so great for the team. So it wasn't really until high school that, you know, he realized that basketball probably wasn't great for him because he saw that he needed to improve his body. And so he got that time working out in between lacrosse and football. And, you know, he just enjoyed, you know, everything we threw at him. You know, he took our adage of whatever you do, just have fun with it and do it the best of your ability.
And I was doing it with guys, you know, my 6 best friends, the dudes I went to middle school with, we all went to the same high school, and we all were playing lacrosse and football together. So it was a really good experience being with them and you know, playing those sports, you know, with the same guys up until my last year of high school.
That's awesome. What did you like specifically about lacrosse? I have not played a lot of lacrosse. I played football growing up, but lacrosse looks like something special. If they had it more on the West Coast, I probably would have done it.
Look, it's such a fun sport, and it's growing so fast too. But I mean, I love just I love hitting dudes, and I was getting penalties just about every play. I'm sure the team didn't like it that much because I'm just so damn big, and I'm hitting guys, and you know, lacrosse, you can get a lot of penalties for that. But
you can't hit the guy without the ball, right? Or can
I mean, when they have the ball, I mean, you can hit him a little bit, but I was so much bigger.
Yeah.
And it was definitely tough, but it was something that I could have seen myself playing college lacrosse because I was having so much fun doing it, and it is such a fun sport. But I was just too tall and too big because
too physical, probably.
Too physical, exactly. And but man, did I have a lot of fun doing it though.
You said you started football in 7th grade. You're this big ass dude. What positions did you first start playing? Right. Normally they put some of those big guys down the line, or what were you playing?
So when I was in middle school, I was playing like D end and like X, the X wide receiver. And once I got to high school, I was kind of playing D end and a little bit of offensive tackle because, you know, I mean, I was just a really good football player, and it was a position that you kind of need. And then once my senior year hit, we had a Division I tight end who left, and then I played tight end my senior year and just had a lot of fun doing that. It was definitely a natural position for me, playing tight end and defensive end my senior year, and I love catching balls, and I love scoring touchdowns.
When he was a junior and a senior, he played every snap, every game. Like we made him come off the field, and he would be angry about it. And he was our long snapper. I don't think he played on our kickoff or kick return teams, but he was our punt snapper and he was our extra point snapper. So he was literally on the field all the time.
That's incredible.
Yeah, we wore him out. As a junior, he played tackle, and I really thought as a junior that he was going to grow into a really good tackle. He was big. He's got, you know, if you've met him, he's got huge hands, and he's got a really powerful punch. You know, he just has some tools and a great body to be an offensive lineman, and I thought that's what he was going to grow into. And then he came to me before his senior year, and he wanted to catch the ball and score some touchdowns, and he wanted to play tight end. And I thought, oh man, we already got a tight end, you know, why don't you want to stay and be the best tackle in Michigan? And, Aidan would have been the best player at, 10 out of the 11 spots on our team, just a terrific player. So he ended up playing tight end as a senior, and he can catch the ball. He could have been a Division I tight end if he wanted to.
I did not want to play O-line. I mean, I wanted to catch the ball. I wanted to be flashy. I wanted to score some touchdowns, something that I haven't really got the opportunity to do too much.
Yeah, no, I think I played offensive line when I was a kid, and it was like everyone does not want to play offensive line when you're a kid. You want to catch the ball. You want to score some touchdowns. Yeah. Your mom also mentioned, I want to get into the football and talk more about your high school career and bring up some of these specific games. I know John, your coach, highlighted as well, but something that I haven't talked a lot about with your family is, your other interests, right? I think your mom mentioned you longboarded a bit, and you played video games as a kid. Sounds like tennis was a good piece. Yeah. But what else interested you back then, and what are some of your other hobbies now?
I forgot about that. You talk about things younger. I was thinking about sports and stuff. Yeah. But I was big into longboarding. Mm-hmm. Not too much into skateboarding, but I was definitely, me and a couple of my buddies in middle school, we had these longboards and we had the GoPros and we were taking videos. I got some videos on YouTube that are made private. I don't want them to get out, but they're from that time period, and we're sliding down hills and stuff like that. But it was definitely one of those. I was doing a lot when I was a kid, just trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and I think I got a lot of variety in what I did, and I think it definitely has made me the person I am today.
I think your mom and your dad mentioned early in the interviews I had with them that we'll let him do anything as long as he gives 100% effort. It sounds like if you're sliding on the longboards, you're giving 100% effort.
Oh yeah,
that's incredible.
With the Thane lines is what we call them. When you slide, you got the lines going behind them. But yeah, I was all into that stuff. So.
Let's talk more high school and high school football games specifically. Early on, freshman, sophomore year, it sounds like you're playing a handful of different positions, maybe not like finalizing this role as a defensive end. Are there games or practices that you kind of come top of mind that really feel like you were having this turning point, right? Where you felt like you could really commit full time to football and know it was something you could do long term?
I think I can't think of a game specifically, but I can remember just freshman year practicing, because we would practice the JV against the varsity, and I was beating a lot of these varsity guys, and a lot of eyes were looking at me like, who is this kid?
Well, practice-wise, Aidan has one speed, and that's all. So when he was a 9th grader and he was 6 feet and 175 pounds, he was a real pain in the butt for the upperclassmen that he practiced against. But then as he got older, by the time he got to be about a junior, we had to, then he's practicing with other freshmen. And we're like, okay, Aidan, we got to keep these guys in the program. They can't be quitting. You got to, we got to find a good practice tempo. And that was difficult for him, because the guy goes 100% all the time.
the presence that your dad and your mom had in those games, right? Your mom's she was a volunteer photographer on the sideline. Your dad's a volunteer physician. I'm sure your sisters are in the stands. Yeah. There's a game where one of your guys' star players is sick, and you, I think, had communicated that to your dad at some point, but never asked him to do anything. Yeah. And Coach John Filiatraut comes in the locker room all of a sudden, knows that his star player's sick.
It's Aidan's senior year. We're playing a team called De La Salle Collegiate. They're out on the east side. They're perennial state champions, excellent program. And one of our kids has the flu. And he's been sick all week, and he's a starter, and he's an important guy for us, and it's a big game. And we're playing at Wayne State University. So we're playing down at this college thing, and we're in their locker room. And I walk down one of the little the little locker room alleys, and Chris is standing there with another parent, and they have an IV bottle into this kid. This is at a high school game, right? And I just looked at him, and I didn't say anything, but I just looked at him and I said, "Is there anything I need to know?" And Chris said one word. He goes, "Nope." And I just kept walking. I just kept walking right on. I just thought, what the heck?
Man, that just goes to show how involved he was in my high school career. And I mean, both my parents were so involved. That's how I got those fire pics from my mom and then my dad. Even on the sideline, he was not only like a trainer. I mean, I'd walk up the sideline and he'd be the first person I'd talk to in terms of like getting feedback and what he's seeing versus what I'm seeing. And so kind of that whole dynamic right there was huge for my success and some fire picks in high school.
I want to focus in a little bit on the relationship you had with your dad, because I think your dad brings up a ton about how, you know, he was obviously very supportive of you and understood kind of the opportunity you had in, you're a big guy, you come out 11 pounds, 1 ounce, he brings that up too. And you know, you have this opportunity to play football for a long time, and he knows that. Yeah. But he always said to me that he encouraged you to do whatever you wanted, whenever you wanted, as long as you gave 100%. Yeah. That you've kind of highlighted with the variety you have in sports, right? Doing dance, doing, you know, all these different things.
Karate, all that.
Did it feel like that when your dad was kind of having you through these things? What did that support feel like to have you let you do so many different things?
Yeah, I mean, I think him allowing me to do what I want to do is what grew my love for football on my own. And you know, it wasn't one of those things where, you know, growing up your dad's forcing you into football, and you know, it's more of his love for the game and not yours. And I think it was the complete opposite in my situation, just because growing up I loved watching football games with him, and you know, I wanted to play tackle football even earlier, and he wouldn't let me for the whole concussion thing. And you know, then he finally let me play in 7th grade, so I was itching and scratching and clawing to play. But I think by him doing that, it was one of those things that it allowed me to grow the love for the game myself. And I think that's where a lot of my passion comes from. It's all from within. That's why I love the game so much. It's not from him, it's all from me. So definitely, you know, if I have a son one day, I'll probably do the same.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. That's fantastic to hear. I know that what was pushed on you probably was Michigan, though. Yeah. Michigan from an early age. You were always going to be a Michigan fan, and there's pictures of you as a kid with the Michigan hat on. I know. I think you said it was 6th or 7th grade. You write down somewhere, either in a journal or whatever you're working on, and you say, "I'm going to play football for the University of Michigan." Yep. How important was Michigan to you growing up? The program, the campus, and I'm sure you went to a handful of games as a kid. Just speak to what your dad did to kind of like implore that on you as well.
Yeah, I mean, my dad just involved me in all the games. I mean, we were going to the games, going to the tailgates, and you see the players. I mean, you see the big house entrance, and like if you don't want to be a part of that, I mean, you got to be crazy, because I mean, I was sitting there in the stands in row 19 and just watching those guys run out and touch the banner, and man, you want to be a part of that so bad. And no, definitely. I mean, when I wrote that down on that piece of paper, I put that white blank piece of paper up on my wall. And yeah, I mean, I can even remember one time I was sitting there, and I put one on one of my suit jackets. I had a couple hats in front of me, like I was sitting there at
making the decision.
Yes, my mom says she doesn't remember this, but I can remember it specifically. I was sitting there, my kitchen counter. I was putting that Michigan hat on. Like, I'm not really talking to anyone. I'm just sitting there, like in my own head, visualizing this whole thing. And
what were the other hats?
I don't even remember. All I know is the whole point is the Michigan was right there, and I was putting that hat on. But man, I wanted it so bad, and I mean at such a young age too. So I definitely think I had the mental part of going to Michigan, the whole way.
Yeah, that comes up in your recruiting process too, and I want to talk a lot about that. Bringing back to your dad a little bit. I mentioned he was a volunteer physician. He made it to every game. When I talked to him, he said, "I only missed one game, and it was a lacrosse game that was rescheduled."
So I never missed a football game that he ever played in. I missed one lacrosse game that got rescheduled, and I knew that I didn't do well in the stands. So I volunteered to be the team physician, which basically just got me down to the sidelines, and I would do some athletic training stuff, but mostly it was to get me out of the stands and get me in front of Aidan.
Yeah, I'll probably agree with him. I didn't think he missed one game. I mean, maybe one. I don't even remember, but
he remembered just one game, which I thought was fantastic.
He's always been there for every game, so that just goes to show, how dedicated and supported that he was in my high school career. Always being there and always having those eyes on me were good too.
Because when you have a kid like Aidan in high school, who relative to the other kids doesn't need a lot of coaching, that's where I stepped in. Mm-hmm. So he would come off the sideline, and I would have probably about 10 seconds worth of attention where I could say, what do you see? What happened? Or he would say, what's happening to me? And we would have a brief exchange. And it was always just about the fundamentals. I would say, where's your helmet compared to the other guy's helmet, and where are your hands? That's to me, that's 95% of football. If you're at least helmet to helmet and your hands are inside, you're going to win these battles. I always told him, I don't want you to win your battles in high school because you're bigger, faster, stronger. I want you to win them because you have technique. If you have that technique now, then when you go against the bigger, faster, stronger guys, you're going to have a leg up on them. So that was most of our interactions. It was a little challenging sometimes because, Aidan did have a couple of times where he got, quarterback, because in high school he played tight end / one of these flex tight ends. He was the long snapper. He basically, only plays he didn't play were the kickoff and kickoff return team. Everything else he was on.
Wow.
So I didn't get it, didn't have a bunch of time with him on the sideline. So I turned into the team physician / Aidan's personal coach. Plus I had his special water that we gave him. It was just, that, like you see in the NFL, they have their special electrolyte water. So I kept Aidan's water bottle because that was also Bobby Boucher in the water boy. I'd bring the water
secret
out.
Sauce.
That's right. All this just to sort of get myself near him, get myself away from the parents in the stands, but also get myself near him so I can interact with him.
This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Life is full of twists and turns, stress changes, grief, moments of growth, and moments where we feel like we're taking a few steps back. BetterHelp Online Therapy is here for the twists and turns and will assess your needs and can match you with your own licensed professional therapist in less than 48 hours. It's not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It is professional therapy done securely online, and the service is available for clients worldwide. You can log into your account anytime and send a message to your therapist. BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches so they can make it easy and free to change therapists if needed. It's more affordable than traditional offline therapy, and financial aid is available. BetterHelp is a great way to show up for yourself and invest in your well-being. Because, well, you deserve some inner peace. Visit betterhelp.com/hutch. That's better, H-E-L-P, help, and join over 2 million people who have taken charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional. Special offer for Hutch listeners. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/hutch.
There is this, not stigma, but like there can be a stereotype around dads on the sideline, stuff like that, who's like on you the whole way. And he definitely, mentioned that he was, he'd have these opportunities to talk with you, what you're seeing and all that stuff, and you'd seek him out as well. But where I think, at least what he mentioned, where you guys got a lot of values when you guys first started to watch film together. Yeah. And he said on the edge of your bed in your room, you guys would turn on the tape, all 134 plays or whatever it was, and watch through this tape. Speak to those experiences and the impact those had on you. Because there was a point where he said, he's watching the tape with you, and then there's a point where you're seeking out it with him, right? And you're trying to get more from him. So speak to those experiences.
Yeah, that was something I started doing later in my high school career, but I wish I had done it earlier because, you know, knowing that he was like an All-American at Michigan, and like knowing what he did and what he knows about football, I wish that he sat down with me and he forced me to learn, because I know how much I know how much better it would make you. But he wasn't like that. He kind of did it. He wanted me to seek him out, and you know, we wouldn't really watch film if I hadn't asked him. Yeah.
Oh, so high school, as soon as we would get back home from the game, we would sit on the edge of his bed, and they would already have uploaded the game film to Huddle, and we would sit down and watch it. And you know, it's one of these interesting things that, you know, you both play the same position, and you know, he's, you know, really starting to play well, but he can only absorb so much. Mm-hmm. And I would only able to give him little bits at a time because he wasn't ready for it. And probably my biggest attribute when he was in high school was just to keep my mouth shut and give him little bits. And when he came to me and wanted it, that's what I would give it to him.
So, you know, that's kind of how it was, but a part of me wishes that he would just drill knowledge in me and, you know, make me become a better football player. But I think he did it the right way. And, yeah, it was great. It's great just sitting down, watching film with him, especially, you know, I mean, now I'm starting to get to the point where I'm playing more years of football than him in my career now.
Don't bring that up to him.
Yeah. So it's like, I kind of know when I'm screwing up. Mm-hmm. And, but I mean, definitely when I was younger, for sure. I mean, we'd talk, and I was just a sponge, you know, soaking up all that information.
Really watching Chris and Aidan go through film, that wasn't until later. Chris really did leave it up to the coaches in high school, and really just doled out little tidbits, you know, just for when he was ready. He would just give him a little bit here and a little bit there, and he'd say he's not ready for that yet, or the coaches can take care of that. And Chris just really stood back, and he was on the sidelines, and then eventually became the team physician. But both of us were kind of working together, and that was just an amazing journey of, especially later, like watching them break down film. Yeah. I mean, it is right now. It's so cool because the things that Chris can see, even his brother will say, I love watching Chris watch film, and then, you know, take little tidbits for Aidan. So, yeah, it was just very exciting, but Chris was always front row with anything the kids did. It didn't even matter. I mean, you know, whether Aidan wanted to do football or not, Chris was front row.
Pivoting a little bit to your mom. Your mom was also at every single game, photographer, volunteer photographer. Having the conversations with her, she is wildly supportive of you and your efforts. I guess talk about the relationship you had with your mom growing up, and just the impact she had on you, you know, up to your high school career.
Yeah, I mean, my mom growing up, I mean, she was always my rock, for sure. I mean, doing everything for me. I mean, when it comes to taking pictures, I mean, she was definitely behind all the creative side. I mean, if we're in school, if there's this one art project we need help on, I mean, it's my mom. And then if we needed help with math, it was my dad. So, I mean, it was always that dynamic with my parents. And I mean, she was always there. If I needed to talk to someone, I mean, she was always there. We called it communication 101 when I was younger, because, you know, a lot of young boys growing up, you know, it's not really there with the communication. So we called it communication 101, where we'd sit down, have a conversation. Hey, how you doing? Be active, engaged. So I think that's where my conversation skills definitely root from now.
Nice. Yeah, your mom. That's fantastic. I mean, she is definitely a great conversator. Her and I have talked a ton about you specifically. I know another part of, you know, something that she prioritized, at least talking to her, was she's a huge supporter in mental and physical health.
Well, it's been my whole life pretty much. It's something I've always been interested in, whether it be spirituality, you know, how, you know, just the whole mind, body, spirit, like for your health, you know, your mental state, you know, meditation, what you put into your body, your spirituality. So that's been super important to me since probably I was, you know, when you're like in 5th grade walking around with books on chakras and, you know, spirituality, I've just always had an interest in all of that, and really brought it into what I do with my family. And, you know, Chris is ER, and he's always been like a very conservative guy as far as like, let's say when the kids were babies and they had a fever, he'd say, you don't need to give them Motrin. Like if they're doing fine, they're playing, they're okay. Like you do not need, it's okay that they have a fever right now. So he really added to kind of what I already thought or how I thought about the body, or, you know, and over the years, just doing that with the family, we just kind of, you bring it into whatever realm, you know, that you're doing, like football or dance, or how do you keep the body healthy, right? So it wasn't just for football. It was just a continuation of what we already did with the family. It's just that I looked more into it with football because it's not something that, I mean, you see little bursts of, you know, what the guys do in the NFL. Like, I mean, with TB12, even, let's say they, you know, kind of wrap it all in a nice little package and kind of presented this, what looks very revolutionary. And it is very, you know, it's very ancient too, you know, health, as far as looking at the body and its natural healing processes and all that. So I just will learn things, and then I put them out on the table and we talk about them. We say, hey, do you want to try this, or let's do this, or, you know, just trying to keep the body as healthy as possible and not having to rely on anything that guys sometimes start to rely on when they do get into the NFL, because you are in pain. You're in pain all the time. And, you know, so it just became this huge interest for me to even look beyond the family and then into, oh my gosh, what is it going to take to become an elite athlete and to keep your body healthy for 10 to 15 years? Yeah. And what can we do right now? And Aidan embraced that.
I'm super impressed by it. I'd love to hear how that started and how that process is going now, even.
Yeah, it's definitely what my mom brought to the table at a young age, and was the mind, body, spirit was, you know, in terms of, you know, what I'm doing outside of football, outside of sports, just for my well-being, you know, what I'm putting in my body. You know, we talk about the journaling, you know, that's something that she always talked about with me, and something that I really started taking seriously when I was in high school, when I kind of realized that, you know, what I want to be and what I want to do with my life in terms of my career with football. And I mean, she definitely helped me with that, and in terms of, you know, with the journaling and mind, body, spirit, all of that. So definitely I've taken those things from her, and I've taken them and I've run with them. Yeah. You know?
What were some of those early journal entries, right? I can imagine what they are now, right? You're prioritizing the NFL and the combine. There's the real legitimate adult goals. Right. But when you're in 7th grade, I wonder what those things look like. Do you remember any of those early entries?
Shoot. I mean, when I was in high school, I do have this one piece of paper. It was like, I'm going to play in the Army All-American game, or there's an Army All-American, then there's the Under Armour one.
Yeah, that's right.
I was either going to play one of those two. I said I want to be 265 of all muscle. I want to be the best leader I can be. I will play tight end. I'll be the #1 prospect in the country. I mean, I had all these things. That was probably like my junior year in high school that I can remember putting up on my wall. I had them highlighted, looking at them every day, and you know, I accomplished a lot of those things. I made it to like 260. I was at the Army All-American game. Didn't become the #1 prospect, but you know, just having that for my mental and always believing that for myself was definitely huge in high school.
You mentioned getting up to 260. I remember I was talking to Mia, and she brings up a story specifically about how you like consistently get like 2 dinners. And what was that like? And they're like, your sister's like, why does he get 2 dinners? What's going on here? We were just doubling down on food early doors, right?
Almost every night, I swear, for a very long time, around dinner time, he would be in his room doing homework. We would hear bellowing throughout the house, Aidan hungry. I swear to God, that's not even a joke. So that was like a core memory. He would walk down the stairs, and that's when he was growing like rapidly. So he walks down the stairs, and I think he must have thought he was a Viking, and he probably still does, but King of the North, he loves Jon Snow, but literally walking down the stairs, like, oh, like I'm ready. He would have to eat 2 dinners. Every single one. Like, and my sister and I were like, wait, Aidan gets 2 dinners? Like, after we'd go out to dinner, my parents were like, okay, he needs pizza. Like, someone go get him a pizza. And my sister and I were like, can we have 2 dinners? Like, why can't we have 2 dinners? Like, this is like not fair. But Aidan was I just feel like he was so skinny. He was always so tall. Yeah. But he was so skinny for a while that, you know, when he really started getting that height and kind of getting, you know, gaining weight in high school, he would just like, he was this like voracious monster who would come down the stairs and like, Aidan, hungry. And we're like, oh God, like this is
oh my goodness. That is hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, I'll probably be eating dinner. And then after that, as a late night snack, I'd be having my pizza rolls.
Oh,
and
wow. Tostitos?
Tostitos.
Wow. Those are good.
And I literally, I mean, in high school, I was having those things religiously almost every night when I was trying to gain weight because I was so freaking skinny in high school. So, you know, I think it was tough. It's always hard gaining weight.
Oh, for sure.
It's never fun, and it's something that the pizza rolls were huge in high school.
What do U.S. News, PC Magazine, and Popular Science have in common? They all ranked Simply Safe Home Security as the best home security of 2021. In fact, U.S. News just named Simply Safe the best home security of 2022. Simply Safe has freed me from worry and given me peace of mind while I'm out traveling or visiting teams ahead of the draft. Simply Safe protects your whole home around the clock, 24/7, every door, window, and room. It's backed by the best 24/7 professional monitoring in the business, ready to dispatch police, firefighters, or EMTs to your home. Simply Safe is less than $1 a day, and you can set it up in around 30 minutes, and it's always simple to use. There's never a long-term contract. You can even try it for 60 days risk-free to see if you like it. If you don't, send it back free of charge. There's nothing to lose. Simply Safe protects over 1 million homes in the United States alone. Check it out. You can customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes at simplysafe.com/hutch. Go today and claim a free indoor security camera plus 20% off with interactive monitoring. Go to simplysafe.com/hutch.
Let's get to the recruiting process. I talked to your dad about a lot of it, and he mentions that he was not going to push you to Michigan. He was going to be very open to any school you want to go to. Hell, you guys took a visit to Michigan State, which I'm sure boiled his blood quite a bit.
I did not want him. I mean, we live 20 minutes from campus. I did not want him to go to Michigan because I went there. I said, I will take you wherever you want to go. You know, I want you to feel comfortable. You have to be comfortable with where you're at. And I, if that meant he went to Michigan State, I was reluctantly happy for that, because I really, again, I know how hard college football can be. And if you don't love what you're doing, if you don't love where you're at, you're putting yourself at risk for not being successful. So I took him to Notre Dame. I took him to Ohio State. I took him to Michigan State. We went to Purdue, Wisconsin, all these places. And I wanted him to, you know, feel comfortable there. And if he felt comfortable there, my wife and I were totally fine with wherever he went, because I know being a legacy is a very challenging thing, especially a legacy who never lost to Ohio State and won 5 Big Ten championships. So I really wanted him to make that choice. And I drilled that into him. I go, this is your choice. I do not want you to go to Michigan. Please don't choose Michigan. If you're comfortable somewhere else, please do.
It sounded like you were touring Central Michigan to start. You had some offers, I think, from Syracuse, LSU, and you were doing these different visits. But time and time again, all you were doing is comparing them to Michigan, right? Will a school top Michigan? Will a school top Michigan? Right. Speak to those other visits and some of the highlights along those visits, and just kind of where your mindset was when you did go to some of these other schools that you knew weren't Michigan.
Yeah, growing up, I was a diehard Michigan fan, so definitely, I mean, that was number one always. And I was always comparing these other schools on my visits. And I mean, yeah, I visited Michigan State, went home. I got this terrible sickness, lost about 20 pounds.
Oh, no.
And
it's a curse. It's a plague.
It was an omen or something. It was an omen telling me not to go there. So definitely never visited Michigan State again. I went to Ohio State, Wisconsin, kind of schools like that. But I mean, it was always Michigan in my mind. And it was always just trying to compare other schools and, you know, growing up there and, you know, like I said, watching those guys run out the tunnel. I mean, I wanted to be a part of that so bad. And, you know, I signed the ink and, you know, and then I was there in 2018.
Well, it was, I mean, first of all, having a great player right in our footprint, close to Ann Arbor, and Aidan Hutchinson, and Aidan being the son of great Michigan football player Chris Hutchinson. So true true blue family, you know, all the way, everything just aligned right from the beginning, and in the process of getting to know Aidan, his sisters, his mom, his dad, everybody, it was always a pleasure. I mean, here comes this, great football player, but also a great student and a gentleman too. That just could tell he was raised right down to earth, genuine, great guy and great family, and that continued all the way through his entire Michigan career. And we'll sit there and embarrass Aidan for a while here, but one thing that I've never shared this with Aidan, but my daughter Grace is on the water polo team here, and she's a junior, and her comment was, Aidan's a perfect gentleman around campus, and a great guy. It was no surprise, but it's just, as a coach, as a dad, I mean, that's one of those compliments when you get one of your players that just makes you feel good. So
you do have the moment, right, where you're sitting down at the chair. I think you're dressed in all red, Dearborn High School, making the commitment decision.
Yeah.
There weren't any other hats there, were there? It was just Michigan.
Yeah, it was just Michigan. No, because I committed my junior year, and then when I actually signed the paper, I couldn't do the big reveal that I was always thinking about.
Yeah.
Hats,
Everyone knew.
Grab one, put one down, and then throw one on. But so I mean, I was already committed at that point. But yeah, I mean, that day was special for sure. And I think getting that offer was I still have the video of my phone and sitting there sophomore year Aidan, no facial hair, nothing. I just looked so young, and my family were all just so surprised and so like, oh my God, this is actually happening. So I mean, I would say getting that offer from Michigan was probably like the most insane thing at the time.
Had to have been insane. What were your early impressions of Ann Arbor? We could talk about the facilities as well, the practice field and all that stuff, but Ann Arbor is a special city. And I think it's a big part of your story. It's a big part of Chris's story, your family's story, and just the impact that you guys have had on that city, but also the impact it's had on you. What were your early impressions of Ann Arbor?
My parents met there, and I mean, both my sisters have graduated from Michigan, so I mean, I grew up 30 minutes away from Ann Arbor too. So I mean, we didn't go there too much when I was younger, but I mean, we knew it was always there. Yeah. And now that I'm there, now that I've graduated, I mean, it's such a great college town, and it definitely it's got to be. I mean, I haven't visited a whole lot of colleges, but it's got to be up there in terms of like the vibe and everything that comes with it, and the tradition. And Michigan is such a traditional school. So yeah, I mean, it's great. I love Ann Arbor.
I visited a handful of campuses. I think Ann Arbor is up there at #1 for me, man. Yeah. It is an absurd college campus. The football facilities are insane. Yeah. The sports bars, Skeeps. I mean, it's Rick's is just an insane. It's an insane place. Yeah. So I know your family's big celebration dinner types. I know you guys have this tradition to go get dinner after games and all that stuff. What was the dinner like after you commit to Michigan?
Oh boy. I remember my first offer, but God, I don't remember where we even went from Michigan. All I remember is, sitting there, and I get the call from Coach Madison, and I get there, and then I walk in my house. My whole family already knew because he had told them before.
Oh, nice.
And so they got this little cookie cake that I was loving at the time. And I forgot where we went, but just being there and, growing up this big Michigan fan, I'm so I'm a diehard fan literally when I'm a sophomore. And when they tell me they want me to play football there, it's like,
that'd have been insane.
It's insane. I was a sophomore too, so I was like, shoot, 16 years old, maybe not even. So I was so young at the time, and man, it rocked my whole world. And it was definitely one of those days. And that video is hilarious. It's something I'll never forget.
That's incredible. And I'm sure the status had to change for you after that. You're committed to Michigan, the sophomore. What was it like hanging out with your friends? Did your friends get commitments too? And what was that like?
I didn't have a ton of friends that went Division I to play football, but I don't know. I mean, my friends always just saw me as Aidan, and I mean, no matter what's happening in my life, I mean, or it's always just they've been my friends since I've been pretty freaking young. So yeah, I don't know too much about the status.
Yeah,
the status
didn't change,
but yeah.
I want to hear some stories from move-in day. You guys go in. Knowing your family as much as I do.
Yeah.
That had to have been an experience.
Yeah.
Everyone had to have come, your mom, your dad, all that stuff. What was move-in day like, and how was that transition?
So I think the first move-in day wasn't bad because my family was there, but that was in summer.
I remember literally bringing my son into his dorm room, West Quad, freshman year, August of, I guess it would have been 2018, maybe 17. I don't know, 17 or 18. Whatever that was, and being at the front desk, and there was a woman there by the name of Melissa Hutchinson checking her son in, Aidan Hutchinson, into the same dorm. I remember talking to her, and so her son has had a bigger impact on Michigan than my son has had over the last 4 years. I think it's fair to say that.
That's phenomenal.
And then when you're in the summer dorms, you got to move out and go to the regular dorms when all the students get there. I think for that first year, I'm pretty sure it was the first year, my family was on vacation, and so so they were gone and
left you.
I think it was that, and or maybe it was the move to somewhere, and I had lost so much stuff in one of those moves, and it was really bad. And so I've had some not so good move-in memories, but I've had some good roommates though at Michigan, and yeah, a good time in the dorms.
When they ultimately kind of send you off, maybe it was in the summer move, were there any tears from mom and dad, or what was that like?
We didn't. I don't think we really had the classic tears because I lived 30 minutes away.
Fair.
So it was never that big of a goodbye. Maybe if I had gone somewhere out of state or something, it'd be different. But I mean, I was always 30 minutes away, so it was easy for all of us.
So you come in there in the summer, and you're going to play football. You're going to pursue this dream, right? What were the journal entries in the in those kind of days, right? What were the goals going in? Where was your head at? You already accomplished all these things. You're going to Michigan. You're past this #1 overall recruit story. What were the goals then? Before you even kind of went to your first class or took your first practice there at Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, going in there, I was just trying. I didn't really know what to expect. I mean, it's college football. You hear so much buzz about it, and you hear so much about it, and I don't really know, what I was getting into. And it definitely was a little rough at first, I think, for every college athlete.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of balancing school and classes and everything. But I think once I got my composure a little bit midway through the season, yeah, I definitely had written down some pretty lofty goals that people were laughing at at the time. But I mean, a lot of them came true, as I got older.
What was that, Heisman? Was it #1 overall pick?
Yep, it was that Heisman. #1 overall. I think I said
break your dad's record. Had to have been in there.
I think it's I want to run a 4.7 too, and I did that, and at 12 sacks, did that too. So I mean, me and my mom were just looking at it, and it's so freaking cool to see
insane.
What I was writing down in 2018, and now we're sitting here 2022, and I have accomplished a lot of those things.
It's tremendous. It's working. I have no further advice for you. Just keep doing it the way you're doing it. And if I would add one little thing, I mean, if you want to get a little better, then work a little harder. And I know this won't happen, but just don't ever get the big head either. Yeah, that's a trap. That's one of those traps. That's a deep, dark, lonely place. So yeah, just keep doing you. Love you, man. And we're always watching and always following, and forever proud.
You're listening to Hutch, a 4-part podcast series brought to you by PFF and presented by Cash App. This podcast is hosted by Austin Gale, myself, and executive produced by Tyler Mowbray and Aidan Hutchinson. David Sofaro, PFF's Director of Communications, is responsible for all interviews in the podcast. Video editors are Mike Quinn, Tyler Sobchik, Ryan Richardson, Ethan Hornsby, and Stone Rochelle. Radisson Sports, specifically Ryan Henderson, Jenny Cronin, and Alex Radetsky, made this all possible. Mia Hutchinson on as a content producer, and Melissa Hutchinson as a creative assistant. Sponsors are Cash App, Simply Safe, and BetterHelp. Sponsors lead, Connor Price. Thanks for listening.